welcome to everyone who came here from near and far. It's a great privilege and honor to be here today. I'm Mila. I'm co-CEO and co-founder of Amity, and I'm going to talk about alternative investments. Amity is a platform that is trying to solve this problem in a very innovative way. So what I will do is I will spend a bit of time why alternative investments matter, and then I will talk about what Amity is proposing in this regard and how we do our peaceful revolution. So first of all, and we talked about this a lot, the current circumstances, they do not resemble to us what we have known for a long time. For a long time, approximately until 2090, we had a period of great moderation when the economic growth was high, and that was coinciding relatively low inflation. And that's not the case anymore. Inflation is hitting 40 years high, there are geopolitical tensions, there are supply constraints, and even the central bankers find it very difficult to tell us how sticky the inflation is, and what is the cost of fighting it. So overall, the situation is very volatile and uneasy. And in this regard, we see that where we invest, how we invest, matters much more. And the basics rule of 40 to 60 doesn't seem to work anymore. Moreover, it seems like getting the asset mix wrong tends to cost us much more because both equities and bonds were drifting lower, and this 40-60 play wouldn't work very well in the past year. So what do we do in these circumstances? We would suggest pretty basic two rules. First of all, you need to be much more selective about investments you invest. And the trend is our friend, and there are many long-term trends that have evolved and that will stay with us for quite some time. It is both clean tech transition to net zero, it is demographic shifts, and ultimately it is a very high speed of global technology adoption that we all are facing right now. So we need to merge both of that, and indeed, investment in alternative assets, they have really grown. And this is not the trend of today, this is a trend of probably past 15 years. They've grown really fast, and they're likely to grow repeatedly because they deliver high returns. They have some all-weather kind of story. They're less correlated with traditional assets than traditional assets between themselves. And overall, it seems like individual investors also understand that. And in one of recent BCG reports, The Future is Private, together with iCapital, they say that it will grow by a factor of 2.4 in the coming 5 years, between 2020 and 2025. So indeed, there is a big appetite for alternative investments, private equity, and venture capital. Now, if I'm an individual, what options do I have in investing in private equity and venture capital? Well, on the one hand, it may seem that I have plenty of investments. I can invest in funds, I can invest in fund of funds. Recently, there have emerged a lot of B2C platforms where I can onboard as an individual, try to go there, browse anything from early stage startup to pre-IPO opportunity, but many, and at the same time, a very hard choice because it is complex, it is time consuming in terms of onboarding. Very frequently, I do not get full transparency on these platforms. And after all, it takes a lot of time and results in relatively high fees. And this is why, in the end, individual investors who tend to hold about 50% of the global wealth, they don't really invest equivalent proportion into alternatives. They're simply overwhelmed with a lot of opportunities. They do not know how to do that. And what is suitable for institutional investors when we're talking about venture capital funds, private equity firms, and so on, will not necessarily be very suitable for an individual investor. So even if I like investing in stocks and bonds, even if I want an expansion to my portfolio, it might be very difficult for me to do an investment given the current choice of instruments. And what as a private investor, what would I would prefer? I would prefer some quick and easy solution. I would like to talk to the people whom I know, and there is something definitely that is required on the intersection of institutional investors and individual investors to be built upon. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So at MIT, where we merged the expertise of people who have spent many years in investment banking, who are investors themselves on the private equity space. Almost each of us has a few dozens of startup investments. We love public markets, and we have worked at brokerage firms very successfully establishing this kind of the business for the individual investors to be able to invest in private equity. We decided to expand our expertise, to move it further outside of the brokerage firms we've been working to. And we created a platform that effectively builds a solution for financial institutions to be able to distribute to their clients a ready-made product on private equity, venture capital, and private debt. The way it works, those who are looking for raising capital, such as companies' founders, companies themselves, and those who are willing to get some secondary liquidity. This can be venture capital and private equity funds. This can be early stage investors. This can be employees. They can onboard on Amity as a platform. And on another side, Amity will facilitate the product offering to financial institutions, providing ready-made solution in the form that those financial institutions can easily distribute to their clients. It is a form of the private placement of the structured product or note that is very easy for the financial institutions to process, very easy to distribute, and doesn't require them to amend anything in their rules of the games. So what financial institutions will typically ask for is some deep due diligence. They do not go out to their clients with untested deals. That is why at Amity, all the deals will be very well prepared in terms of data room, in terms of arguments why this makes sense, and what are the risks and the benefits of the investments. Then there is, as I mentioned before, a very easy and simple settlement for financial institutions. And after all, we always want to know what is going on with the private investor after we have invested in it. So the regular information update is an important part also. Basically, for a broker or a bank, this is the way to test a new product. This is the way to try a new hypothesis whether this will be interesting instrument for the investors, for their clients, and it's the ability to do so instead of hiring an expensive team, creating the processes, to try everything very fast and at zero cost, because the product is a ready-to-sell format. Going forward into 2025, we definitely view as one of the key features of our system is ability to trade these products as the secondaries. And given that these are in securitized form, in a ready-made format, we will be able to launch the secondary market, create a market making, and have liquidity on demand for those who invested before. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure to be presenting here today. Thank you very much.